Sometimes I run into a situation where a customer who I'm quoting for insurance would tell me something like, hey, I tried to run this quote with another agent and he gave me the same exact insurance company, but it's $1,000 cheaper. And I think I'm going to go with the other agent. And I always tell my customers, before you make any decision, please let me look at the application and the quote that the other agent ran. And a lot of times what I find is information does not match what the actual operation of my customer is. For example, I've had situations where a relative of mine would have a quote for several trucks that's $4,000 cheaper than what I had quoted him. So I asked him to send me the quote and the application so I can make sure that we're comparing apples to apples, because insurance companies do not have preferences for agents. It doesn't matter if you work for an agency that has 1,000 agents or you're a one-man operation. Prices are the same for everybody. And the only way there's difference in premium is if there's different information on that quote. So I asked my relative to send me a copy of the application, which he did. And when I looked at the application, I discovered a few things. Number one, he was going from the East Coast to the West Coast. That's his operation. And his radius of operation should be unlimited. However, the other agent quoted him at 200-mile radius. So when I addressed that with the customer and I said, you're only legally covered up to 200-mile radius, is that your operation? And he was shocked. He never looked at the application. He didn't know what the other agent did. He just looked at the price. So he asked me, so does that mean that if I go outside the 200-mile radius, I'm not covered? And I said, yes, that's grounds for insurance company to legally deny the claim if you're found operating outside the radius that is indicated on the application. And the second thing was, one of his drivers, who was 23 years of age, had only minimum 2 years of CDL. However, the other agent, in order to get a better rate, indicated on the application that the driver had 8 years of experience. And my customer didn't know about it. So when I pointed that out to him, and I said, the guy is 23 years old. If he has 8 years of CDL experience, let's calculate. 23 minus 8, that equals 15. Are you telling me that he got his CDL when he was 15? He was shocked to realize that. And here's the most important thing. If you sign that application, you buy that coverage, the responsibility is on you as an applicant, because by signing that application, you are agreeing that everything in that application is correct and true. So if there's ever a lawsuit or an argument, the insurance company is always going to say, is that your signature? Yes. Did you look over the application? Yes. So you signed the statement. And they're not going to hold the agent liable, because you have an obligation to review that application and make sure everything matches. So please be extremely careful when you compare quotes. Make sure they're correct. The applications are properly filled out. I'm Greg with Alliance Insurance Agency, have been insuring trucks for over 18 years. If you have any questions or need some help with your quote or look over your policy, give me a call, 540-527-7720. We'll help you. Thank you and God bless.